Hey riders and racers, and welcome back for another live stream. Today's live stream is on pivot turns and how to make pivot turns easy or easier than they are for you at the moment. And the reason I brought this up is I work with a handful. The majority of the riders that I work with are either extreme enduro, normal enduro, like cross country type enduro, desert racing guys that get ready for Fink, Hatter, Yellow Mountain, Kalgoorlie Desert Race, and then motocross guys. That's majority. Hey Johnny, majority of the riders that I work with. Then you get some, you get drivers, speedway riders, and some other people. But majority of it is extreme enduro. Common bits of feedback that I get from the extreme enduro guys is how they notice a big difference once they start to get strong in their pivot turns. So the reason that they get better with their pivot turns is because they're getting a lot stronger. Hey Ben. So 3 areas that you can work on to make your pivot turns a lot easier. So the first thing that's going to help the most is getting yourself a lot stronger. So the stronger you can get yourself, the lighter the bike is going to feel for you. The easier it is for you to get the bike up, the easier it is for you to hold the bike when it's up. And especially when you're developing new skills, like if you see guys like Graham Jarvis, like top level extreme enduro, technical enduro guys, they make everything look really, really, really easy and look effortless. Hey, James. But when you first start off doing that stuff, it's 10 times harder. And you're probably going to drop the bike a heap of times. It's probably going to fall over. Probably going to do a whole heap of things that you don't want to do that are going to happen, which is going to affect how quickly you can develop that skill. So the stronger you can get yourself, the lighter the bike's going to feel. It's going to be easier to pop the bike up, but it's also going to be easier to keep the bike up. So when you're doing a pivot turn, so if you look at the weight of the bike, and let's say you've got a 300 two-stroke, which will be about roughly 100 kilos. So you got this bike up, which is 100 kilos. Now, keeping a bike up in a straight line 100 kilos is relatively difficult. But when you're doing a pivot turn and you're actually rotating, the bike is no longer in one straight line because the bike's turning, right? So we've got the bike on a little bit of an angle to help it to move around. So what that means is you've got 100 kilos that you're trying to hold up or trying to keep up, either using your leg, using your arms, and using the power of the bike. So the stronger, hey Riley, the stronger you can get yourself, the easier it's going to be for you to get the bike up, and the easier it's going to be for you to keep the bike up there, and also easier for you to make any corrections as well. So while you've got the bike up there, if you hit a log or there's a rock on the floor or whatever it is that puts you off balance, the stronger you can get yourself, the easier it's going to be to keep that 100 kilos in line. If you're not strong or not as strong as what you need to be, then you're going to find it hard. Okay, the bike's always going to feel like it's crushing you, and it's going to take a lot of juice out of you. Okay, it's going to cause a lot of fatigue. Second thing is that you can do to improve your pivot turns is improve your endurance. And the way that you improve your endurance is by doing some cardio work, do some interval work, and do some longer distance work. So with the technical enduro stuff, like if you're doing, like let's say you're doing the grassroots series, right? Your races are roughly, or if you're in, gold, silver, your races are roughly 4 hours, okay, around the 4 hour mark, maybe even a little bit longer. That's a long time to be on the bike for. Now, skills need work to a degree, okay? You're always going to be limited by your skills. If you get to a particular obstacle and you just can't get over it, then that's going to hold you back and you need to work on that. But when you're doing these 4 hour enduros, a lot of the time what I find with our extreme enduro guys is it's not the skills that's the thing that's holding them back. Because they can go and practice and they can do the logs and they can do the pivot turns and they can do the rock gardens and they can do all that sort of stuff. The problem is being able to do that type of riding for a 4 hour period. And that's where the real challenge is. So you can take a very high level rider, a very skilled rider, and they start off great at the start. And then you look at that same rider 4 hours later and they look like they've just started riding. Okay, the easiest of obstacles are becoming very hard. And that's because they start to fatigue. And part of that is cardio. It's having enough endurance. So once you've built the strength up that you need, then you need to make sure you've got the right cardio system there to make sure that you can be consistent with that strength. You're not just strong for the first half an hour, and then after that, you're getting arm pump and struggling to hang on. The other thing you need to do to make your pivot turns easy is you need to practice the actual skill. So go and work with, go and do a riding school. Go and watch Graham Jarvis on YouTube or whoever it is that you follow. Go and do the schools and find out what are the drills, what are the things you need to do to get better at doing pivot turns. And then every time you go and ride, spend the first 15 minutes working on that weakness. Okay, so if you only go riding once a week, that's 52 rides you do a year. Okay, Now, if you spend the first 15 minutes of every single ride for 52 weeks of the year, you can't not get good at that particular skill. And so it might not be pivot turns for you. It might be doing rock gardens, or it might be doing wheelies or hill climbs, or whatever it is for you. Okay, whatever it is. But whatever your weakness is, spend the first 15 minutes of every ride working on that thing. It might not be the most fun, might not be the most enjoyable. You probably just want to get out there on the track and go and ride. But if you want to get better and you want to improve, then that's the work that's required. And that's really it. The main takeaway from this one is once you've got the skills there and you've developed the skills, the strength work is going to complement that greatly. So if you always want to be increasing your skills and increasing your strength simultaneously, okay? And then they both feed into each other. So the stronger you can get yourself, the easier it is to get into the positions that you need to on the bike. The easier it is for you to get into the positions on the bike, the less energy you use as well, because you can become more efficient at riding. And that's why you see professional level races and everything looks so easy. It's because they're very efficient at what they do. So that's it for today. It's a very quick video. If there are any enduro riders that would like to add 1 hour to your racing fitness in the next 12 weeks, you can apply to work with me. I will put a link for you in the comments. It's just a quick application form, and we'll give you a bit of insight into, or give me a bit of insight into what you're working towards, and then we can go from there. Otherwise, hopefully you enjoyed this very short and sharp video for today, and I will chat to you guys soon. See ya.